Today I'm going to ask you a strange question: why do chickens fight? To put it more simply, what reasons could they possibly have for fighting? They have coops, they have food, they even have their own special places for laying eggs. So what else is left to fight about? You might think this way, but when you discover the psychological aspects and cognitive world of chickens in this video, you'll see how complex the matter actually is. We will examine the psychological state behind the process that continues from pecking and feather plucking all the way to harming their own chicks. If you're ready, let's begin. First, we need to understand this: chickens are flock animals. But being a flock animal doesn't mean everything runs peacefully. On the contrary, there is a very clear hierarchy within the flock, and chickens constantly struggle with each other to maintain this hierarchy. This struggle is not meaningless, everything has a reason. This struggle is for order. It's called the pecking order. This concept, known in English as pecking order, is actually a term derived from chicken behavior. In a flock, every chicken has its place. The strongest chicken is at the top, the weakest at the bottom. This ranking determines each chicken's position within the flock and has evolved as a survival strategy. So fighting is not a luxury for chickens, but a necessity. However, in some cases, this natural behavior can spiral out of control and lead to serious problems. Have you ever observed what happens when you add a new chicken to the flock? For the first few days, the coop can turn into a veritable battlefield. This is normal, because the existing flock perceives the newcomer as both a potential rival and an unknown element. Chickens observe each other to get acquainted. They aim to complete their psychological processes and get to know one another. Then the testing process begins. This testing involves physical tests, such as pecking, ruffling feathers, and forcing submission. If things get complicated, the struggle begins, and this may take some time. Experienced farmers don't put new chickens directly into the flock in a separate cage. During the process, they let them see each other from a distance and try to adapt. This way, fighting is prevented. One of the topics that experts researching chicken behavior focus on most is space. When chickens' personal space is violated, the likelihood of aggressive behavior increases significantly. What happens if too many chickens are forced to live together in a small area? Stress increases. As stress increases, so does aggression. This is actually a reality that overlaps with human psychology as well. In cramped, narrow spaces, people also become more tense and quick to anger. The recommended minimum space for chickens is approximately 0.37 square meters per chicken indoors, and at least 1 square meter outdoors. Even though we provide these numbers, let's think psychologically. In spacious, well-ventilated areas with plenty of food and water, chickens' stress levels remain low. Chickens in good psychological condition show positive progress in egg laying. The more peace, the more productivity. You can think of it this way: what happens if you put 20 people in a room and leave only one plate of food? Write your answers in the comments. The most common aggressive behavior among chickens is pecking. But not every peck is a fight. Chickens also peck each other for social reasons. Sometimes this is a form of communication. The real problem begins when pecking turns bloody. The color red is a major trigger for chickens. It creates an attacking instinct in them. When they see blood on another chicken's body, other chickens continue to attack that chicken. This instinctive state can sometimes be difficult to stop. Feather pecking is also a significant problem. Initially seen as a simple sign of stress, this behavior can lead to serious injuries over time. As a chicken's feathers fall out, its skin becomes clearly visible, and this becomes a target for other chickens. That's why regular observation in the coop is essential. Is it light pecking, or is it real aggression? These are two very different things, and the intervention methods differ as well. One must be careful. Let's delve a bit deeper into biology. Have you ever wondered why roosters are so combative? Testosterone. During breeding seasons, roosters fight both for control over females and for power struggles with other roosters. These fights are so intense that they particularly cause injuries in the neck area. But it's not just roosters. Hens can be aggressive too, especially during laying periods or when there is competition for nesting areas. A hen can turn into a determined fighter to protect her nest. Here, maternal instinct also plays a role. A mother becomes a warrior fighting for her chicks. Apart from this, seasonal changes also affect hormonal balance. In spring and summer months, during periods of longer daylight, tension and fighting rates within the flock generally increase. Consequently, stress affects their psychological states, and struggles begin among them. Actually, when we look at it, it shows similarities with human psychological states and conditions. Do you think so too? A frequently encountered finding in research on chicken behavior is this: chickens that don't receive enough stimulation redirect this energy toward each other. This is called behavioral redirection. In their natural environment, chickens forage all day, peck, climb, and take dust baths. When these needs cannot be met in a small, empty coop, chickens look for another outlet, and most of the time, that outlet is other chickens. There are practical solutions for this: cabbage or other vegetables hung in the coop, straw scattered for scratching, rearranged perching setups. All of these help distract chickens from each other. Simple but effective methods. This is perhaps the harshest reality: a sick or weak chicken is targeted by the rest of the flock. This may be a wild instinct. Evolutionarily, keeping a sick chicken in the flock can cause other chickens to become ill as well. In flocks that move together, germs spread faster. Perhaps one chicken could lead the entire flock to death. That's why it is excluded from the flock and sometimes directly attacked. In practical terms, this means, if you see one chicken being pecked more than the others in the coop, examine the chicken more carefully. Most likely, it is a sick, injured, or extremely weak individual. Separating such chickens from the flock is important both for their safety and for the health of the flock. After they recover and return to normal appearance, gradual reintegration can be attempted. But sudden and direct reintroduction often results in problems. Now let's get to the practical part. You can't completely eliminate fighting among chickens. This is an inevitable part of flock dynamics, but there is much you can do to reduce its severity and frequency. Step 1. Provide adequate space. Instead of a cramped coop, there should be a well-ventilated one. Step 2. Clean water, clean feed. There shouldn't be just one feeder and waterer. The more these opportunities are multiplied, the more peace is ensured. Step 3. Enrichment, objects, areas, and activities that can keep chickens occupied. Simple but effective measures such as scratching areas, perch variety, and hanging vegetables. Step 4. Separate when necessary. If there is a chicken showing continuous aggression, temporarily isolating it sometimes re-establishes balance. This is not punishment, it's giving the flock room to breathe. Raising chickens may seem simple, but it actually means managing a multi-layered relationship between psychology, behavioral science, and natural instincts. When you understand what's going on in your coop, you can intervene in problems earlier. Your animals live healthier, experience less stress, and you encounter fewer surprises. Chickens fight. This won't change. But understanding why they fight allows you to change how often and how violently these fights occur. Observing the psychological reasons behind this fighting is important. If you found this video useful, don't forget to subscribe and like. You can also share your own coop experiences in the comments. I read and respond to them. See you in the next video.